And welcome to another video. I've come this morning to my narrowboat. This is the Brum Tug. There's a few previous little videos about this, so if you want to have a look back at those. This is my Brum Tug. It's a small, it's just about only about 30 foot, I think it's actually just under 30 foot, certainly the cabin is anyway. I've not got to use this much this summer, that's a long story, but I've come today really to try to start to do some jobs on it. There's I had it painted 16 months ago outside, and it needs a jolly good clean, and it's full of cobwebs inside, and but I've got one or two things that I want to start doing to it. This is I have to say, this is not a liverboard. This is purely a little, messing about holiday weekend boat. I never want it to be anything other than that. It's not designed, or it probably wouldn't be practical in its present layout to consider living on it, and I don't want to do that. I think there's plenty of some great YouTubers out there who do that, and there's some fantastic videos, but this is not that. This is purely a little sort of, if you want, day, weekend, week. You might spend 2 or 3 weeks on it at the most, sort of thing. But the job I really want to get cracking on with is, when I had it repainted, I fitted 2 new the main water tank was up at the front there, and it was pretty rusty, it's pretty corroded, and in fact somebody had put some temporary water tanks when I bought the boat on the 2 cratch seats through that door. I fitted 2 new plastic water tanks there, and then built some seats around them. I'll probably show you that in a bit later, or in a later video. But the water pump on this boat is really shot. It's tremendously noisy. It's not really functioning well. There is no hot water at the moment. It had a little Paloma water heater which failed a boat safety certificate, and I decided there and then after that to make the boat totally gas free, so there's no LPG gas on this boat whatsoever. But the job I want to start to try and do is fit this new water pump. I've made this, there again, we're talking, it's basic stuff on this boat. It's a very basic, so I've made this board up, and I've got a new PAR 2.9 cold water pump there, little accumulator tank there to keep the pressure balanced, and I'm going to try and do the whole boat in this. I think this is the poly pipe push fitting. The plastic fittings. It seemed better, than the plastic cold or red water hose you got, which is on this boat, which I'm going to try bit by bit to do away with. So that's the new water pump. As I say, I hope you can see that, which we're going to try and fit on the board. The problem being, it fits. If we can get up there and turn the camera around a little bit, it fits under this sink cupboard here. So I've got to take everything out and take the back off the cupboard, take everything out of the cupboard and take the back off, and then see sort of how to progress the job onwards. I hope my board will fit. I'm sure it will. I did have a look many months ago when I built that. So that's the first job in hand. But the first thing is to make a coffee. I've just got here, and as I say, this boat is totally gas free, and this is an Origo, or I'll put links in the description. This is I think it's there again, I'm not sure of the model number. It's not only the spirit burner hob, but it has the full spirit burner oven as well. So I think it's something like the 6000 model. Quite rare, horrendously expensive to buy new. and I was very fortunate. I picked this up at Chandler. He was down south, were closing down, and they had this one in stock, and I bought it on eBay for a ridiculous amount of money. Nobody else, whether it had been put in the wrong location, or nobody else seemed to want it, and it was like a bite now, but it was make offers on it, and I made an offer, and they accepted my offer. I was a bit concerned, obviously, because it was it was sent via a courier on a pallet, and it's got a glass door, but thankfully it arrived safe. So it's very interesting. I find it very good, and we'll perhaps do in future videos some more cooking on this. A lot of people have this trouble in not only narrowboats but in camper vans and all sorts. What probably don't want to have gas. What other systems are there? You're very limited, if you do cut the gas, out of the equation. But I find this very good. So without further ado, I'm going to fill the. It's been such a long time since I've used this. I'm going to fill the burner up, and hopefully, if I put the camera down, you might see how we do that, or I'll try and explain how we do that. Anyway, first of all. So here we have the Origo spirit stove. The cover just lifts up like that, and this gets to the burners, and it's very simple how to fill. I'm just going to wipe it. There's a little bit of dust and dirt on there that's blown in over the. It wants a good clean. So as I say, to fill these, all you do is, what I use is this. This is called Eco Fuel. It's ethanol, liquid alcohol. You can use just methylated spirits, but a lot of people found that this has a very little smell with it when burning. I'm not going to put too much in. Let's put that's adequate for this one. And then what you want to do when you're pouring, you just kind of hold it at a little bit of an angle, just a few degrees sloping down, and gently pour in. And as I say, the wadding inside this burner container will soak up the alcohol very quickly. I'll just give it a few minutes there. As I say, I think these hold about 1 litre, and there again, I'll give the burning times in the description. I'm not sure how long they last, but they do last. I think it's perhaps I'm telling you wrong, but I think it's a couple of hours on 1 litre, so there's plenty of time. And that buying ethanol is quite cheap. I've no doubt in the long term, if you're using this regularly, it would probably work out dearer than liquid propane gas. So then those burners just come down, back over, sort of clip in, and that one like that, and that's it. And if you're not using the burner, there is a rubber pad to put over that stops the liquid drying out, obviously. And we're going to use this one. So then the cover just clips back over like so, and then to light, I hope this lighter still functions. Doesn't seem it does. Yes, it does. You just turn the knob on that and put your lighter down. And then it's away. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that, but you'll probably be able to see the flame eventually. And there we go. It's as simple as that. Then it'll increase slowly, and you just put the kettle on, and job done. I really like these. I think it's so brilliant. So this model does have the oven as well. Nice little oven there, and it's a great. If you don't want gas and you don't know what to get, a lot of people just have you can buy these by the twin burner unit and not have the oven, which is I think there again you can pick them up very off on eBay for about £100 second hand. In fact, I sold one. I got an extra one that I bought originally before I found the model with the oven, because this just screws on to the oven. It's just got like two fixings there. So there we go. That's the Origo. I believe to say it's the model 6000, and would probably do some more cooking on that. And I think a lot of people are interested, as say, in alternatives to liquid propane gas. And so I do like this. So I don't know whether we can see the flame there. There we can see the flame now. It's quite a, you know, it's quite a good flame there now. So we'll leave the kettle on, and it boils pretty quickly. Here's a picture of the Origo 600 cooker. Obviously it's difficult on a narrowboat to get further enough back to get a good view, so here's a picture of it to show it clearly. Each of the burners hold 1.2 litres of the fuel, and I think that gives you a burning time of 4.5 hours, so it's quite good. And I think it's rated at something, each burner is rated about sort of 2 kilowatts, so it's quite powerful. And the oven burner, obviously the oven has a separate burner, and that is much the same. That takes 1.2 litres to fill it, and has a burning time of around about 4.5 hours. So it's quite a long time in fairness to it, actually. Well, there we are. We've got the doors off the cupboard and everything out the cupboard, and this shelf in the back of the cupboard, and we can see the old water pump there. It's quite a rare old mess of, as I thought it would be, of old pipe. It's pretty much horrible, the whole lot. So the intention, and I don't like the look of the wiring. It's my intention that obviously there again to run a new bit of wire right round from the panel again. You can see there's some old gas pipes there, which are the old original gas pipes which have been cut off. So it's a question now getting the old pump out, and freeing up a lot of this old pipe, I think, which I shall remove as well, because none of it's being used at the moment. So it can all come out. I mean, there's so many wires and fittings, and we'll try and do it all a bit tidier and get it all clipped in a bit better, I think, if we can. And somebody's put a little isolation valve there, which might be handy actually, because I believe that actually is coming from the water tank. So that's probably a bit of a godsend really in some ways, although I don't know whether we shall use that. We'll see anyway. But there we go, that's what it looks like behind there, and pretty much, you know, untouched, and sort of it's been messed about with over the years, and very rusty. It's corroded some of it, so I think it's due to be replaced, definitely. So we'll get the old pump out anyway. Well, there we go, we've managed to get the old pump. I mean, sorry, there's just not enough room in this cupboard to have the camera running and as I do this job. But if you have a look in the top of that pump filter there, can you see the horrible, disgusting? I mean, I hadn't been drinking this water from this tank, you know, or this pump, I should say. It's got new tanks, and obviously they can be well run through, and but that is absolutely disgusting. The gunge in the top of that filter, sort of just sort of where my finger, can you see where my finger is there? It's all just sort of horrible black yucky gunge. The pump, there again, it just shows you that it was only held on by very, very small screws. Oh look, that's dripping, still dripping out, never mind, it's only on a bit of old mat there. And it virtually fell off in my hand. You know, it was long overdue, and the wiring all looks a bit dodgy, and as I say, I'm quite pleased because the pine boards, there's some cracks and splits in them, but they look quite sound, you know, for the age of the boat. You've got to remember this boat is coming up for 30 years old. There's little bits of, you know, rot here and there, you know, but these are very sound actually, considering, you know, there's been water involved, and obviously you get condensation. I mean, as I say, this boat has only been ever used sporadically in its life as a kind of holiday boat. I think I'm going to remove all this kerfuffle here, you know, all these joints, and I'm going to put new taps at the sink. I'm not going to put a new sink on at the moment. That might be a future thing with worktop and sink, but I'd like to put new taps, so all that old kerfuffle there can go. And but yeah, that's good. You know, I'm pleased with how that's come off, and as I say, we'll get on and see if I can see how my new pump fits with the board there, and be an ideal location again for it back there. So there we go. Yeah, we're getting on. Well, there we go. I've now got the board fitted back. It fits there quite nicely with the new pump on, and it looks okay there. I mean, I might have to bring the back of the cupboard away a little bit for the accumulator. You know, I realise that there might be clearance there, but we're not really worried about that. There's plenty. So there's a lot of cupboard space on this boat. So if we lose a little bit of width or depth that way, that won't matter. You know, it really was grim. You know, it just shows you. You know, I mean, if you've got an old boat, and I mean, and most of these Jubilee clips aren't stainless steel, and they've really gone rusty, and the pipe is really quite horrible and quite nasty. You know, it's there's so many joins. There's some stainless steel ones there that have been used. You know, it's gone really quite horrible, and so there were so many different bits of. There was plastic pipe. We've got copper pipe. I have just connected the pumps, the tanks, the supply from the tank back up to the pump, because there is still water in the tank, and I mean I shall tidy all that up there eventually, and obviously my intention is to try and get the pump running, get a bit of pipe on there, and probably even get the new kitchen taps on and get a cold supply to the taps there, and then drain the tanks right down. I want to flush them out and clean them, because they've had some of this antifreeze that you can use in drinking water, and because over the year, when I first fitted them, because it still had the Paloma water heater on then, and in the winter there was no easy quick way to drain this system down. So yeah, it's looking good. I'm quite pleased with how that's fitted there and how it's all gone in, and as I say, the boards are quite, there's a little bit of cracking and where it started to go on those planking down there, but you have to realise what you've got here. This is not a new boat. As I say, this is a 30-year-old holiday boat. Do you really want to spend an awful lot of money on it? I might well keep it for X amount of years. That's dependent on a lot of things, but I like to do things to a standard and get them as best as you can. I think that's always, and so I'm quite happy with that. And as I say, I should now run the feeds off, in the poly pipe. That's unfortunately it's a bit backwards way around how it's worked, but that won't matter. I can put a feed in and then a take off, and and for temporary, for now there's the two shower pipes there that go to the shower down there, which I've just cut off there. There again, I might just use those in that pipe for now, then eventually pull some of this plastic water poly pipe through and use the proper fittings. There's nothing wrong with this, I mean, this has been used on boats. It's very good, it's flexible, with the Jubilee clips, with the stainless steel Jubilee clips and the joiners. It doesn't leak. If you have a unfortunate thing on these boats where you're not living on it and it freezes up, they're very easy to replace if you can get to it, and so yeah, I've nothing against that sort of pipe whatsoever. It's just a bit of an experimentation to try this new push on poly pipe. A lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people in the trade that don't like it, particularly on domestic houses. But we'll see. We'll have a whirl with it and see how it performs here. So there we go. Yeah, that's the pumping. And I think that stage one is complete now. I'm quite happy with that, and now we can start tidying it all up and getting some pipe and getting some supply. As I say, take the old tap off, and I've got to empty this cupboard out now and get the back off that one and see how about fitting the new tap. So there we go. Well, there we go. Just to conclude, I've put a bit of pipe on with a T on there now, and that's fitting in there. I'm really pleased with how that's gone in there. You know, like I say, it looks good. It's fixed well back. It's nicely fixed there. You're going to hear it. The pump's going to be quite noisy, I know. You know, but it can't be as noisy as the old one was. And I can now continue, you know, off as I shall eventually. I mean, I might just try those 2 wires. I know where they are in the panel at the back there. It's not far. I'm going to pull the whole cable. Somebody up to there with my finger above there. It goes to a chocky block, horrible joiner, and then it's like household cable that's been used, and that has a tendency to break. It shouldn't be used on boats, and it should be flexible, copper stranded. So we'll change all that. I mean, I might just connect it up, as I say, because I'm desperately trying to get the water tanks emptied, obviously. But that really fits in there quite well. I'm really quite pleased with that. And as I say, I've come under the sink now and found, actually, there you go, you see how you should check things. The waste had actually, presumably in the summer, obviously it's been really hot on this boat, all shut up. We've had a really hot summer in this country. The waste unit had all broke. Like I say, I know this sink is chipped, the enamel is chipped, but I quite like it. It's quite traditional. It was the original sink on the boat, and I do want to try and keep it. You can see I've got they're the new taps that I'm going to fit at the back there. So it's just a question now of, you know, connecting all those up, and if I can get those, just the cold feed to those sorted, at least I can get the pump, trial the pump, test the pump, and then get the tank emptied. But I've got to find a new one of these now to fit on there, because as I say, it all just fell apart in the bottom here when I took the panel off. So there we go, that's how you should check things. One thing I do think is quite strongly, and you know, coming back down here, I know a plumber told me this many years ago when this came in to being. When you are cutting this plastic pipe, you do really need to invest. This is the John Guest. You do really need to invest in the cutter. It's critical, apparently, he always told me, to get the you know, get the cuts as square as you can. Hope you've enjoyed this little look at the boat and what we're doing, and that work has really commenced anyway. Bye for now anyway. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe, do comment. You know, we always, you know, like to get comments, people subscribing, you know, it's always great. Thanks very much anyway. Bye for now.